Hi everybody, welcome to my studio. My name is Tommy. This is my creative space in the studio. It's in the front of my old Victorian house. It's not a fancy Victorian, it's very plain. In the corner you can see my little dog Sadie is laying there. She doesn't feel so good today. We forget that Sadie is an old dog because she usually acts like such a puppy. But yesterday she had too many snacks and she's feeling a little bit sad and under the weather as a result. I don't have Nessie with me today because she's feeling spicy and I'm feeling like I could be very easily distracted. So I'm gonna get going. I have 3 whips, I have some plans, I have a UFO, just some basic stuff around that I want to talk about. So I guess I'll dive right in. I have one new start, which I started I think the day after my last floss tube, because I realized like I had like a gap in kind of like what I wanted to have to work on. So I haven't gotten too far on it. It's from TinselCrossStitch, which I forget which one, but I have another project from them, and I like their charts. They're very simple, repetitive. I kind of like, I need something like that, but this one has some color to it. These are not the colors that were recommended. It was definitely a blue, a blue chart, not quite monochrome, 3 colors, 3 different blues, but I chose these because they've got just a little bit of green in them, and that works better for me. I prefer that kind of blue, you know, that's a little bit more, I know you're not supposed to play with your floss like this, but what can I do, right? So you catch me looking to the side all the time. It's because I have a monitor over here so I can tell like if I'm in the frame. But it's distracting because I see myself move and then I look and I forget to look at the camera. So I'm sorry if I do that a lot. I'll try really hard. All right, so these colors are, I don't know which is which, but I have the colors through all DMC, 3766, 3809, and 924. I think if I had more in my stash to choose from, these 2 are a little bit too close together for this pattern, so they don't show up really, really well yet. But I think once I get more on the fabric, they will be fine. And this, what I'm keeping them on here, is an old vintage belt buckle that's made out of mother of pearl. And for projects like this where I only have a couple colors, I think that's a perfect way to hold on to them, because I don't need to worry about the symbols and stuff. So enough of that. Here is the piece, and hopefully I remembered to put a picture of what it's going to look like up on the side there. So I think I'm about halfway here on this sine, and I'm liking working on the frame, although it's a little heavy to hold up. I'm gonna have to work on, I have a table stand now. This is too small for it. Well, it's not too small for it, but the piece is too big. The little posts on the end have to stick out farther to fit into the legs for the stand. So I don't know. I like having it stretched flat like that and not in the hoop, but at the same time it is, you know, like holding that up in front of myself, that gets a little bit tiresome. But I'm really enjoying the process of this because, you know, it's like a lot of mega counting for a while, but then, you know, you just do it over and over again. So I'm not too good at like counting and remembering all those numbers. I tend to do numbers by like visual volume, and on a piece like this it works. Other things it doesn't work so well. So I'm trying to use, like, I've got pins here that I'm using for counting, and that's helped a lot. Nobody really talks about counting pins too much that I've seen. after I've got more experience, I'll probably do video on that, because I find the pins very helpful and very strategic sometimes. Okay, so that's the first one, Tree of Life. Let's see, I'll give you all the stats. I'm 7%, so that's encouraging. That's 7%, so that's pretty good, right? It's 191 by 243 stitches, so a little over 20,000 stitches. I'm doing it on a 28 count white Aida from SkillSupply. That's on a shop on Etsy. I really like the Aida from them. I just wash it with dish soap. It's really stiff, right? When you first get it, it's and harsh feeling. The edges are harsh. So I just wash it with dish soap and hang it to dry, and then iron it. And then it still has a lot of body to it. I guess just the way it with the, you know, strands that are like 2/2 or 4/4, it's gonna be more stiff just naturally. But yeah, the washing just softens it up. You don't need the sizing in there that they ship it to you in. I know you're not supposed to wash a lot of hand-dyed stuff because it's not light fast. Personally, if I'm going to dye something, I want to make sure that I've washed out anything that might come out at any other point. I don't know. I'm not really experienced with dyeing, but that seems kind of... You should be able to wash something. You know, if it's hanging on your wall and it gets kitchen grease on it, you should be able to wash it. Let's see. I told you which colors I used. And I did. I started that May 1st. It's a good May Day start, right? The Tree of Life. I have done all kinds of work with Tree of Life, Mother Earth, things like that, since I was very young. So maybe I'll do that. I'll have I can pop in a picture, or maybe in my next floss too. I've got behind me, you can see I've got my the green cloth is covering my easel. I have a wall easel, and I've got my quilting frame in front of it. I don't have room for everything all at once. So I'm not painting at the moment, so the quilting frame is there, and so I just put the fabric over it to look a little less chaotic in here. What was I saying? Do I remember what I was saying? No. Oh, I can put on my easel, I can put some of my artwork, and talk about that. Maybe I'll do that next time, because I have a couple paintings that are like relate to the cross stitch that I'm doing now in sort of a tangential way, but that might be fun to go over. Okay, so my first of the two whips that you've seen before. Now this is a modern folk embroidery, the Wings of the Dove, and I haven't gotten very much further than I had last time. I'm almost 13%, so that's good. I think I must have got about 3% then, because I think I stopped at 10% last time. And I've been stitching it outside on only on sunny days, because it's on this very dark Zweigart linen, which is 30 count linen. And I'll put up, I took a really close up zoomed in photograph of it, and I'll post up here, because I just feel like my stitches are really ugly, and I kind of want to give you guys like something to see that, you know, are they actually ugly? I know on the video you don't really get much definition. I do like the pattern. I'll have to be honest and say that some of it seems pretty awkward to me, like, well, backwards. This here, the way these are not the same, like this one kind of comes closer to the corner than this one does. There's that awkward, that just seems awkward to me, but I don't know how you would change it. That's something, you know, if I saw it like that and I thought, yeah, well, I can't fix that. I can see why it was done that way. And I think once it's all done, I won't see it, because right now, like that's the main focal, right? And so that's what I'm looking at. So I think that won't bother me anymore once I get further along. But yeah, it's so dark. I can only work on it on my porch in the bright sunlight. I don't like I've got tons of lights, like studio lights, and I don't have problems with, ooh, noise. I don't have problems with anything else here in the studio light wise, but this is challenging. I like doing it outside because then I can kind of see the light shining through the back, and that helps a lot. And I seem to make better stitches when I can see better. I guess that's not counterintuitive, is it? All right. So yeah, I'm 7% on that. The floss I'm using, I don't have a handful of it here, but I'm keeping it on another one of the little buckles like that. And it's just a cream. I think it's DMC. It came in I bought somebody's selling their grandmother's stash, and so I bought a whole bunch of stuff, and most of it didn't have labels on, but I think it's DMC. But it's older and it's a little fuzzy, like fuzzier than other floss that I've got. So I've been just lightly waxing it as like right before I stitch with it. Just one pass with the wax. And the only problem with that is being outside in the sun, I have to make sure I like set my wax to the side, because if I just leave it out on my table, it melts, which then you get really gloopy wax on your thread, right? You want to keep it cool. But that's going well. It's just slow because it's been really, really dark and rainy this spring. And while that's great for all the plants, I guess, it's not been so great for stitching and sitting on my porch. I usually, like, the first 2 weeks of May are absolutely my favorite time of year. You know, there's all the fruit trees are in bloom. There's forget-me-nots, and I like dandelions. I think they're pretty. Marsh marigolds. I got some video of those. Maybe I'll insert that because I have a quilt that features marsh marigold plants, and I have a video on that. You can watch that too. So yeah, it's my favorite 2 weeks of the year were rainy this year, but that's okay. The garden's looking good. There's a lot growing, and it seems to have tipped into more sun now, even though today's not a sunny day either. It's pretty cool. I planted tomatoes out this weekend, and that was dumb because it's going to be in the 40s all week. I don't know what I was thinking. So I've got them covered with like little, I cut the bottoms off, big water jugs, and put them on top to protect them. Anyway, gardening. So let's see what's next. All right. This is the one that I've got to get done. This is, and I think it's a 2x2 cross stitch. I'll put that in the description below because I can't remember off the top of my head. But I call it dragons because it's got 2 dragons. And I think it's coming along really good. I think, let's see, catch the light. There, that looks good. It's coming along. I'm over 70%. I'm almost 80%, 77%. It's for my son, Luke. He is adorable. I'm going to show you a picture of him in a while here. So there's another dragon facing the opposite way down below. And then there's in that small section in the center, there's a different vining pattern. It's very, this is my very first cross stitch. And I'm really glad that I chose this one because it is a lot of detail, but it's simple detail. Like once you figure it out, it's repetitive and you can just do it. I like that I can work on this in the morning when I'm not quite awake yet and I don't make mistakes. The only thing that really worried me was getting all those borders to match. So I counted and counted and counted and counted to make sure, right? And they all match. Yay! So I don't have a whole lot left. But his birthday is June 6th. And today's the 19th of May. Luckily, he and Joe, my husband, they are leaving for the 4th of July weekend, going to family, help some family out for 4 days. And so I'll be able to have this out the whole time, and I can just work on it all day. Like right now I'm working on it, while he's in school, which is the best 5 hours of the day for me to do other things, really. Like, that's when I usually have energy to get up and go in the garden or vacuum the floor. You should see the floor right now because I've not been keeping up. So I think I'll get it done. I've been trying to do almost 600 stitches a day, and I don't know if that's slow or fast. I don't, you know, I'm not going to compare myself to other people. I compare myself to myself, right? And that's good for all kinds of things, not just your stitch speed. Like, compare yourself to yourself. But that's a lot of stitches a day for me. Like, that's pretty much my limit. And that's just this one, you know, monochromatic, one color, not switching, simple, you know, it's 18 count Aida, so it's not hard to get the stitches right and even and stuff. But I think I'll get it done. And if I don't, he's a very sweet boy and he won't mind. I'm not going to get it framed, probably. I can't. I've been looking online to buy a custom frame because it's like 13 1/4 by 13 3/4 or something, and that's gonna have to be a custom frame. So I think what I'll do for his birthday is, you know, mount it nicely on a piece of backer board, like foam core. You know, lace it on there just so that he gets like that finished sort of look, and then maybe he'll want to pick out a frame with me, and we can work on that together because he likes stuff like this, and he's got his mama in him. He likes all the detail. So I don't know what else to say about this. I'm really happy with it. I'm really drawn to these patterns, which are very pattern oriented and not so much about color. And I'm surprising myself with that because painting is a lot about color, and that's where my training is mostly. And quilting is a lot about color, and that's one of the things I enjoy most about quilting is the play of colors with the pattern, right? And so it seems odd to me that for cross stitch, or it did, I've kind of figured this out, that cross stitch, it's more about just the process. I think I really am very much a process stitcher, and I like just making stitches. I like the rhythm of a pattern that repeats. And that, I think, is where I was trying to force painting to be that for myself. And I ended up working on these paintings that were boring to work on because, like with stitching, it's an activity. You know, I'm stitching. I'm doing the same thing over and over again, but it's physical, and I'm holding it, right? And my painting tended to get really tight because I could do all the little detail, and so I would be dink 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 dink, just very little teeny brush strokes, and your whole body, you know, you're holding still and just doing that little thing, and so it's not the same. It doesn't take the same energy out of your body. You're putting a lot of mental energy in. You're making decisions, like every brush stroke is a decision. And it's not like that with cross stitch because there's a pattern already. You're not making a decision in the moment every single stitch. And I think that is what I need. Is it's more of a, so if you know anything about autism, there's a stim, right? Which is a repetitive action, whether it's like, some people it's a thought, some people, you know, I do this a lot, rub my fingers together, some people twirl their hair, you know, all kinds of different things. And it's a way of regulating your nervous system for a neurodivergent person, which I probably am, no proof, but just the more I learn about it and kind of think about myself that way, the healthier I become mentally and physically. So cross stitch is a stim, But painting is absolutely not a stim. And so they're two completely different things psychologically, physically. So when I first started cross stitch, I thought, oh, I don't want to give up painting. Like, I can't do in cross stitch what I do in painting. Well, no, of course not. And that's good, right? When I need to get something else out, I'll paint or quilt. But when I'm needing to regulate, I will cross stitch. And winter is always really hard. And this winter was harder than normal for some reason. Maybe it was colder again. We've had really mild winters. I live in central New York near Ithaca. And, we've had mild winters for at least the last 5 years. And then this year, it wasn't a bad winter. It was more normal. We had snow on the ground for months. It was cold for months. And spring didn't come in early March, late February. It came at its normal time, And so there's that long stretch from September until the end of March, mid-April, where everything's gloomy and gray and cold. And I just don't do well with all that. I just don't. And so the cross stitch came in, and I was able to keep myself in a good space, a good headspace all winter. And that's an awesome thing to discover, right? That's a great tool to have in my tool belt. As long as I remember, sometimes you learn these things about yourself, you figure something out, and you do it for a while, and it becomes a routine, and then somehow it's not a routine anymore, and you forget it exists, and then you start having the same problem, whatever it might be, and you have to rediscover what you already knew. That's part of the problem with being chronically ill, because you're never 100% when you need those things. And unless you have a list written down, like on the front of the refrigerator, like, if you feel this, do this, you will forget. I forget. Anyway, I forget. Okay, that's enough about that. Except for, I was going to say this later, but I want to thank Pam. Her channel is just Pam, and she is a wonderful new floss tuber. She just posted her second floss tube, and this is my third. So we're both new floss tubers. She's from Scotland, and she mentioned me in her second floss tube, and she was just, it was amazing to have somebody across the world have watched just, I don't know, she maybe watched 2 of my videos, to have like so completely understood where I'm coming from, and to be so appreciative of that. It was incredibly touching. She moved, I got a little teary when I was listening to her. I did not expect it. It was at the end of her video, and it was amazing to have somebody to get it. Like, my whole reason for doing this, she gets it, and that's awesome. That's awesome. It made me feel like I'm doing something right, and also that I'm not by myself out there. There are people who are right there with me. They're just not in the room. But they're on Flosstube, and I'm glad. I'm really glad that Flosstube is, I wish I had discovered it years ago, honestly. I probably would have started cross-stitching years ago and helped myself. But, whatever. The past is the past, right? Okay. So now, all right, that's my whips. Now I have to talk about my UFO. I don't know if I'm going to show it. I'm not going to show it. Maybe I will. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. Yeah, so I'm UFOing my Middle Earth map for a lot of reasons. Reason number 1 is that my brain does not work in this way, because it's not it's not a pattern. I mean, it's a pattern that you work from, but it's not repetitive in any way. There's no way for me to wrap my head around what comes next. Like I can't, it's only 22 colors in this, right? And I've only used like 10 of them so far. And you know, you count, and I just don't count well. And so every single stitch has to be counted for in this. And it's absolutely exhausting. It's exhausting. I like how it's looking, but it's so exhausting. I just can't keep doing it. So, and also, you know, I've realized like there's a reason that people do full coverage on white. This was not a good idea. Dyeing this, don't do that to yourself. While I love the color that it turned out, I love the fabric. You know, I'm just gonna take it out of the hoop right now. I love how it turned out, the dyeing, as I did the dyeing myself. But yeah, it doesn't work for full coverage. I should have bought the gridded stuff. If I ever do a full coverage again, I'm gonna do something smaller, and I'm gonna get the pre-gridded fabric. Right? I'm going to do it a little differently. You can only reinvent the wheel so many times yourself before you end up with a block. And that's what I did with this one. But I do adore these colors. Like, they're cool. And they're different from maybe what I would normally choose for my colors. But I kind of like that. And I really like how they look with this fabric. Right? So the goal right now is to just find a pattern that will fit on this fabric and that will use some of these colors. And I think I haven't started any traditional like samplers yet. So I think that might be where I look. If anybody has any recommendations for a sampler that might take, you know, 20 to 25 colors, and I totally don't mind like doing my own like color swapping and everything. It wouldn't have to be all these colors. Like that's a lot of colors, but just to like play off of these ones and the fabric. I think that would be cool. Okay. I don't know what, I need to set up like a timer so I can see, because my camera will only record for 29 minutes and it doesn't do anything to tell me that it's stopped. So I need to, this is the third time that's happened to me. So I just don't realize how long I've been talking. So it won't stop for another 29 minutes. And I don't think I've got that much more to talk about. So I was talking about how I was UFOing Middle Earth. If anybody has any recommendations for a sampler type pattern that might use all those things, I would love it. I've seen some what I want to do with it is, oh, what's his name? Colin from Stitchpocalypse. He's awesome. If you haven't found him, you need to find him. He's so different from everybody else. And I really enjoy what he talks about. And I like what he stitches too. And he's got a pretty eclectic collection of things that he's working on. But he's got this piece where he's got the fabric and the floss have a very subtle interplay. Like they're not the same, but they're very similar, and kind of the stitches kind of come in and out of focus in your eyes. And he called it sludge on sludge, but I think it was beautiful. And so I kind of was thinking along, you know, for the Middle Earth stuff to do that. Like it's not what you would call sludge on sludge really, but you know, some of these colors really like settle into the fabric, like particularly this braid here. I don't know if I can get the light on it right, but it's very subtle. And yeah, I think something that would do that, you know, like even if I could find a Quaker that was designed for 4 or 5 different colors, I could do that and it just have it be very subtle. So that's kind of where I'm going with that. So I doubt that I'll have solved that problem by the next time I do a floss tube, but it's going to be kind of cooking in the back of my brain. I did spend a while last night looking on Etsy at different monochrome patterns, and nothing quite grabbed me like for that particular piece. I saw lots of stuff I liked, but not for that particular idea. And I find that if I don't stay focused when I'm looking at patterns, like if I don't have a plan, I quickly kind of go way off and you know, get myself into corners that I don't need to be in, buying things I don't need. So I guess that's it for what I've been working on up to now. It doesn't seem like a lot, but I've probably put in, well, I stopped the dragon piece last time. It was at 50% and now it's at 77. So I've been doing, like, most of my stitching time has been on that in the last couple weeks. I am getting tired of it. I definitely don't think I want to be a monogamous stitcher. I really like to, I think in a day, I might only want to work on one piece, but I think over the course of a couple weeks, I need at least 3 or 4 things to kind of, for different times of day, different moods, how much brain work do I feel like doing at the moment. So as far as plans go, I guess I'm on to plans now. I'm going to finish the dragon piece. I've already talked about that, and what I'm going to do with that. I would love to frame it if I could for his birthday. I just don't think I have time. But once I finish that, then I have room to start a new one, right? And so I had talked about this before. I think in probably in my first, I don't remember. When I first started watching floss tubes, I was like, how can you not remember what you were doing when you did last time? When you talked last time, it's not easy. I only have a few things going. So what I've got next is, let's just show you the fabric first. This is a piece that I dyed myself. I just used the cocoa brown Rit dye, and it's got a really nice, warm, almost purpley feel to it, which I really like. And then with the green floss, and I'm going to put a picture up. I won't cover up Sadie. I'll do it over on this side. I'm going to do Mokosh, which is a Slavic Mother Earth design. And I can't remember who I bought that from, but it was on Etsy. I'll try to link that. I'll put that down below. I really like that design, and so I'll probably do it in solid green. It shows in the design it's all green, and there's the flowers around it are yellow. And I think I have a yellow, but I don't think I have enough. So I got to make sure that, because I think I have an old version of this DMC. And so I want to make sure that I have enough of the same lot to do the whole thing. Or I do a bunch of different colors. That's also possible. I have a lot of different yellows. So that might be even more fun, just to do most of it in green and then the flowers in a bunch of different yellows. Yeah, that when I say it out loud like that, that sounds good. That sounds like what I'll probably do. So I'm definitely going to try to get that started. I doubt it'll look like much of anything. I do think that now that I'm kind of got the ball rolling, I'll probably be doing every 2 weeks or maybe every 10 days. Optimally, I would like to do every week of floss tube, but I don't quite think I've got the energy for that right now. So I might get there. And Sadie is sad. You know why you're hot is because you're into sun. She's so funny. I know I can't get the camera to focus on her, but she's got these, like, her teeth are all messed up. Her teeth are really crooked. And so when she pants like that, she looks terrifying. But she's so cute. You look scary. She thinks I'm nuts. all the animals think I'm nuts. So let's see, other plans. Yeah, I've got to take advantage of any sun to get some work on the Wings of the Dove. Get going. I think if I get going on that one, I'll feel more comfortable with it. I'm still kind of not sure that I like it, but I do like it. So I'm kind of in that. I just need to get more stitches on it before I can really feel comfortable. And I would really like to get to 10% on the Tree of Life in the next 2 weeks, and then for next time have a plan for another new start to take, because I've got this rule for myself that I have to get something. Everything has to be at least at 10% before I can add a new one. 10% or done. So if I finish something, I can do something new. Does that make sense? Yeah, because I could see myself kind of exponentially getting a bunch of things started and kind of lose track of where I am on things. I'm not too good at keeping all the balls in the air. Much better with the focus like this. So I'm not going to get myself in a corner that way. So that simple plans, because I must finish the dragon. So I can't do anything too complicated in the next week or two. I wasn't sure that I would want to do this, but now that I'm recording, I do. So I talked about Pam earlier and how she mentioned me, and she showed a bunch of her own work. She had, 10 finishes, lots and lots of finishes, and she's like a sort of a seasonal she's a seasonal stitcher, and she apparently loves rabbits. So it seemed like all of her things had bunnies, almost all of them, and they were all very cute and brown. And I raise rabbits, and they're cute and brown, and I have babies right now. So I'm going to leave you with a little video of some of my rabbits, and as a thank you to Pam, and I'm so happy it's spring, and I'm happy to be on Flosstube. And rabbits, there's something very rabbits are very impressive creatures. They are quiet and shy, and you'd think that they're like timid and weak, but after raising them for I think 6 years now, they all have amazing personalities, and they can be super intense and fierce. The mothers can be very fierce. If they don't trust you, you are not getting anywhere near their babies. And I think that a lot of people are like that, and I think maybe Pam is like that, where what you see is not an indication of who the person is. And I think that that's a thought to maybe end this with. Enjoy the bunnies. Thank you for being here. Please like, subscribe. Please leave comments. I'd love to hear from you all. Everybody has such nice things to say. I've had some really interesting questions. And bunnies. Happy spring. Bye, y'all.